Blitzers and hopefully a few future mom rads. I'm Littlefinger, back today to share a little bit more knowledge with you. This time I'm going to be reviewing the Ke-Ni, which is a Japanese Tier 3 light tank. You can see it here in the garage, and it is quite a small tank. Take a look at some of the comparisons here. M3 Stuart to the Ke-Ni, much smaller. BT7 to the Ke-Ni, much smaller. So one of the benefits to this tank is you do have a much smaller target. Use that to your advantage. Let's take a look at some of the characteristics here. You will see very low protection, halfway decent firepower. Key with these Japanese tanks is they do have very good gun handling, so the shot effectiveness is pretty high there. And being small and maneuverable is definitely what you want to key on here as your strengths in this tank. I'll pull up my spreadsheet here in a minute and show you there's not a lot of other good things about this tank. But anyway, just looking at this, 360 hit points, hull armor there at 16, turret at 30. It is a very light tank at 7.65 tons, very small engine, 150 horsepower, speed limit there of 50 kilometers per hour, and those traverse speeds are right in line with the rest of the class. Not horrible, not great either. So I have been running this with the 37 millimeter auto loader. It comes with 4 shells in the magazine, 9 seconds there to load, and then a 0.67 seconds between shots. Pretty good as far as penetration values on it, while the damage per shot is a little on the low side. So let me just show you how I have this set up. Okay, here's the setup page. Under consumables, I'm running repair kit, multi-purpose restoration pack, and while I don't think I ever needed it, I did carry a fire extinguisher. Unfortunately, you can't carry adrenaline. Perhaps other options would be a first aid kit or power boost. Provisions, I was running standard fuel, white rice, and protective kit. You want to save a few credits per game. I think that you could just run it with a protective kit only. Ammunition, be quite honest, I really didn't need this many AP rounds on the Pramo here, so this is just how I had it set up. Equipment, I was running the enhanced gun laying drive, the vents, and a light spall liner. Probably could exchange the spall liner out for something like your telescope or optics, depending on your play style. I was just running the spall liner just because of the BT7 artillery that's out. There are so many of those throwing heat around that I just felt like this was a better use of my equipment there. So anyway, let me pull up the spreadsheet and talk about that real quick. So here's our trusty spreadsheet, and you can see not a lot of green for this tank. But the red are actually very close to average. Like if you look at the speed there on the top right, 50 kilometers per hour versus 56, traverse 53 versus an average of 55, turret traverse 40 versus an average of 42. So we're not too far off. While the shell penetration and average damage look pretty bad, I didn't have any problems with penetration having to use Pramo in this tank, so I'm not too concerned about that. The downside for this tank is when you look at its damage per minute there, at a rate of fire of 21.4, and you're only doing 40 damage per shot, calculates out there to 856 is your potential damage per minute, which is considerably less than the average. Little bit of Russian bias there with the BT7 and T46 being so high. But what you will quickly realize in this tank is the Japanese gun handling skills. Their aim time at 3.0 is considerably lower, and 3.7 on the dispersion. Not to mention that this tank has a negative 15 degrees of gun depression, so use those hills and use your small size, and that's how you can gain an advantage in this tank. So let's jump in and look at some gameplay. Okay guys, first game here on the new Mines map. Top tier. They've got some fast tanks over there. I'm going to try to push the hill. This map is now playing very similar to the old map, and that if you get control of the hill here, you do have a significant advantage. You can see here I don't pull all the way up, and I am using this really good gun depression here to get shots down into the valley there. I was kind of afraid that they would push heavy, and I didn't want to be solo up on the hill, which is why I stayed behind that rock initially. But that decision kind of comes back and haunts me here as I take a considerable amount of damage quite early here. So now I'm looking, and my team is finally getting up to the hill to help keep these guys at bay. And I think this is a good video here on playing conservative when you don't have very many hit points. You always hear people say, well, just play like you only have one hit point in the whole game. But there's a time where you can be aggressive, and there's a time not to be aggressive. And you can see here with only 94 hit points, I really want to be aware of where the other tanks are, and be very selective with the tanks that I'm aiming at, and making sure that you know, I'm not going to get hit from a tank that I don't see. So you can see here, like after I take my shots there, I'm just going to back down, knowing that there's no one that can shoot me while I'm reloading here. So there's no point sitting out in the open while I reload. So we're going to go ahead and finish that guy off, who I'm assuming was AFK there, never started the game. So we've got a couple guys sitting in base. Counter's getting up to 73, so I know they're going to have to head to base. And you can see here, gun depression's not quite good enough there, but he has to go to base and stop the base. So I know get 3 good shots into him, and he does get into base here, and makes a good decision there to turn, or else I'd have put a couple more shots into him. But again, I'm still playing conservative. There's 2 more tanks out there. I'm not exactly sure where they are. So he reset the base, and they've got 2 tanks out there. So again, instead of just whipping around the corner here, I'm going to play it real conservative. We get a guy spotted up there. So there's one of them. Get a few shots into him here. And then just back up. He's on the move. It'd be difficult for him to shoot me going full speed like that. He's distracted, so I'll go ahead and finish him off and empty my clip out here. You can just hit the AP button and it will automatically reload instead of wasting those 3 shells. But anyway, last guy was AFK. Get a few rounds into him, but don't get the final kill. I will say this tank is hard to get a mastery in. I think you have to have everything go just right. You can see here I did 1,200 damage in it, and it still was only good enough for level 1. Next game I'm going to show you here is Winter Malinovka, and we are bottom tier in this one. Game starts, no call as to what direction to head. So I'm playing a little bit more cautiously here, and kind of waiting for the rest of the team. I have a bad habit of just getting too far out and not having any support behind me. So I'm going to take this one a little bit slower. You can see here, this good gun handling here. I get rammed from behind there on that last shot. You know, these guys just don't understand that you really shouldn't be running into your own player, and he paid the price there. That T-82 took him out with 1 shot. So, the team is kind of forming a line down here at the lake. I am trying to stay in the back, try to stay undetected. You know, I don't have the armor of some of these other tanks, so get spotted here. Go ahead and get some good shots in on the T-82. He's not looking at me, so no problems here. Just reloading. Team takes him out, and we're starting to get a little bit spread out. We've got a guy in base, not sure what he's doing up there. This BT-7 artillery is coming around here. I figured he would come at me, but he's on the run, so we get a few good shots into him. And you can see here, I'm swinging back and forth because I'm trying to keep a good eye on where everyone is so that I don't get a surprise tank come up behind me. Go ahead and finish the Chiha off here. And they've got 3 left to our 4. Gonna wait here for this artillery to stick his head out, and he does. And we missed a couple shots there. It's a little unfortunate. He gets taken out, leaving only the M3. And I open up my ammo in case I decide to switch over to the Pramo. But you can see here as I come up, get a shot right there into the bottom of him. And this is how you guys should play a TD. You can see I'm shooting the side of him, trying not to let him get in front of me. So line up side by side with him. And you can see here, get enough shots in here that he never gets the opportunity to shoot me. So we did 866 damage here. Not bad for being bottom tier. Alright guys, next game here is on Castilla. We are bottom tier. Looks like we have a platoon fail on both sides. A little bit of indecision there at the beginning, but I'm going to go ahead and push the windmill. I've got good gun depression. I can stay all the way to the outside here. If I start getting shots from the center of the map, I can pull back real quick. So I'm going to slowly move over the hill here. I am not going to go all the way to the top and expose the entire tank. And now we are just waiting for the rest of our team to catch up. We have not had anyone spotted yet. So at this point, kind of just waiting to see how the map unfolds. We've got a guy already in base cap, or I should say they do. 2 have been spotted there, T-28 on the side, so I'm gonna go ahead and see what we can do about this M2 medium here, who's sticking out from behind the building. Watch this, set him on fire, and get looks like 4 rounds straight into him and finish him off. T-28 goes in there and ram kills our tier 2. Bounced a shot or 2 off of him, but back up. He can't see me behind the rocks. He's gonna back up, get his tracks there, and not getting shot from behind. So got a PZ-4 in front of me, and someone's shooting me behind. That's the Matilda. I need to get away from him. Thankfully, the PZ-4 did not push forward. He is retreating. So I'm going to use this rock and this hill here as cover and just sneak a few shots into the side. Figure I could finish this guy off, but and now the PZ4. I know he's got some good armor. Bounce a shot there. Get a couple more shots, and I'm on the run, trying to get away from him and run into my platoon mate. But thankfully, he was running around the other way. And this is just knowing your situation here. I stopped to take a shot on that PZ3, but both me and my platoon mate were low health. So if I had stopped there, I would have left him completely exposed. So I kept on moving so that he could get behind the rocks. And of course, I am just a one shot at this point in time. So I'm going to play it extremely careful. Finish him off, and I think it's kind of funny here. You can see how small this tank is compared to the M3 Lee that's right beside me here. But we finished this off. I think I had pretty good damage in this game. Yeah, 913. Not bad for being supposedly bottom tier there. So, alright guys, next game I'm going to show you is on Himmelsdorf. And it looks like our team here is going to head to the rails. This is actually, in my opinion, quite a difficult place to fight from. There's obviously no hold down positions here, and you can get hit from a lot of different sides. You can see our BT7 just YOLO'd out into the open here, and they went and killed him immediately. Problem with this tank is doesn't have the highest penetration values here, so I'm losing a lot shooting it through the brick, and I'm not penetrating a tank there. And you know, the other thing is when you're only doing 40 damage per shot, and you don't necessarily get every shot in per clip, you know, it's kind of frustrating. So they've pushed quite heavily along the side here, so I'm going to try to retreat. And you can see I take a few good shots here, and do some bad driving and get myself trapped there on the train. And so I've lost about half my life here. They're pushing hard, and so I'm assessing the situation. You know, which way do I want to go? Do I want to get myself out of this situation where they're pushing hard? There's a DW. It's one of the most overpowered tanks at tier 4 in my opinion. So I'm gonna have nothing to do with him. They've got a guy sitting in base. We're a tank up. I don't have a lot of life, so I'm gonna go focus my attention on him. Seems like the guys that were holding back near our spawn did a real good job holding back that push from the Reds. So get 2 out of the 4 shots on him. Obviously the turret is a little bit stronger, and don't penetrate on those 2 shots, but he comes in and he misses. He's got a long reload, so able to finish him off, and that leaves obviously just that DW with his good armor. 4-on-1, we stand a pretty good chance here. So he has dropped off the map. He's somewhere in the middle here. I'm not just gonna roll straight out until I know where he's at. There he is. He's fired, and these are all the things you want to keep in mind as you're watching the game. Who's he aiming at? Has he fired? How long is his reload? These are the things you want to learn as you watch and play these tanks. So even with my AP, I can get some good shots into the side of a DW. From the front, and with him being angled, it'd be a lot more difficult. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Pramo because at this point every shot counts. And get some good shots in here and actually ammo rack him for the win. So, it's a good tank. The gun's great. It's just, it's just a little slow, and you don't do a lot of damage. But I like this tank a lot. I like the Japanese line, and I hope you guys give it a try. As always, stay safe out there. Have fun. Get educated. Not fingered. Littlefinger out.